City has been just a cookbook. It's part of
being hit here
with the latest global news and insightful documentary.
Transition.
Understanding.
But if you ask them know me. I know they blow trees.
Welcome, and it's time for our news bulletin right here on Luntha Television. And this time you are with me, Patrick Pooper. But first, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV assures Catholics RMI of daily prayers for Lebanon and the Middle East. Parliament assures transparent investigation into 2024 South Close Chilima's plane crash as committee visits Pungwa forest site. Government expert demands urgent action on Malawi's development after Malawi's poor Human Development Index HDI ranking. And in international news, Ebola outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo kills 131 over suspected cases reported. And those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Pope Leo XIV has expressed his daily prayers for the people of Lebanon and his deep concern for the churches of the Middle East during a meeting with His Holiness RMI, Catholics of the Armenian Apostolic Church, See of Sicilia, at the Vatican. The visit, which took place on Monday, marked the official meeting between Catholic RMI and Pope Leo XIV. It was followed by a moment of prayer
emphasizing the urgent need for believers in Christ to bear witness to unity in the world. The Holy Father expressed gratitude to Catholicos Alam I for his efforts to foster relations with the Catholic Church and for his closeness to the Church of Rome. He also thanked him for his long-standing commitment to theological dialogue, which has been ongoing since 2003 within the framework of the Joint International Commission for Theological Dialogue between the Catholic Church and the Oriental Orthodox churches. Pope Leo XIV noted his hope that despite recent challenges, this dialogue would continue with renewed strength, stating that there can be no restoration of communion between the churches without unity in faith. Reflecting on the presence of the Catholic hosts, the Pope spoke warmly of Lebanon, recalling his visit to the country last December. He praised Lebanon as a nation that has long demonstrated the possibility of coexistence among diverse cultures and religion, while also lamenting its continuing difficulties and trials. Pope Leo XIV observed that at a time when Lebanon's unity and integrity are once again under threat, the churches are called to strengthen fraternal bonds, not only among Christians but also with all people in their shared homeland. The Holy Father further expressed his joy that ahead of the solemnity of Pentecost, they would be able to pray together for unity, enduring peace and renewal of the face of the earth. During his stay in Rome, Catholicos Alam I is also expected to visit the dicastery for promoting Christian unity and other offices of the Roman Curia. He will also additionally deliver a public lecture at Pontifical Oriental Institute on the challenges facing the churches in the Middle East.
The Parliamentary Committee tasked with conducting a fresh inquiry into the June 10, 2024 plane crash that killed former Vice President Charles Chilima and 8 others has assured the public that the investigation will be transparent, credible, and aimed at delivering long-awaited answers to beloved families in the country. Committee Chairperson Walter Nyimilandu made the commitment during a visit to the crash site at Intungwa Forest, where the military aircraft went down. Alison Banda with the details.
Speaking at the site alongside fellow committee members, Nyamilandu said the inquiry is focused on establishing the exact cause of the clash and ensuring that all findings are communicated openly and responsibly to the public. He emphasized that the team will carry out its work independently and professionally, adding that transparency will be central to restoring public confidence in the investigation process.
We must not hide the truth. The only way we can have closure is that the truth must be unearthed. And that's the driving purpose of this committee, which is comprised of different political parties. But the people that have been appointed in there are all driven by the desire to say the truth. That's why we're bringing in transparency and accountability. The whole process has to be accountable to convince people that what we're doing is the right thing and we're not hiding anything else.
The crash, which occurred on 10th June 2024, claimed all lives on board and sent shockwaves across the nation, prompting a renewed calls for a thorough and independent probe. The committee is expected to consult aviation experts and other relevant stakeholders as part of its ongoing investigations.
Governance expert Dr. George Chaima has challenged government leaders and other duty bearers to take urgent action aimed at improving the living standards of Malawians and accelerating national development following the country's poor performance on the latest Human Development Index (HDI). Dr. Chaima made the remarks after the latest United Nations HDI report ranked Malawi among the world's poorest countries, pressing the nation 22nd from the bottom for the third year in a row. Emmanuel Chocha reports.
Speaking on the report, Dr. Chaima said the findings reflect the harsh realities facing Malawians, stressing that little progress has been made in improving people's welfare and quality of life. He further emphasized the need for transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public resources as key measures towards transforming the economy and uplifting citizens' livelihoods.
We are stuck on the same position for the past 3 years as one of the poorest countries in the world. It means that our duty bearers are doing nothing to improve the lives of the people. When we talk about development, we look mostly at the lives of the citizens, individuals. How are they doing in terms of their social and the economic status or improvements?
Meanwhile, social commentator Lakembewe agreed with Chaima observation, describing Malawi continued poor ranking as both worrying and embarrassing. Mbewe noted that corruption and poor leadership continues to hinder meaningful national development. He urged leaders and duty bearers to put national interest ahead of personal gains and work collectively for the benefit of the country.
Well, I think first of all is to acknowledge the fact that we are a state that is shameful, a country that should feel ashamed of ourselves with regards to being the last country in the global development, human development index as the least poorest country. When you look out there and see the resources that we have, one wonders why we keep on maintaining that position of one of the poorest or a leading country for the poorest countries, and we are proud of that. I think we can do much better if we work hand in hand with our leaders, driving their ambitions and the vision, but also supporting and complementing government in ensuring that we achieve sustainable development and consequently move out of the poverty index column.
According to the report, Iceland ranked the highest on the Human Development Index, while South Sudan remains the lowest ranking country. Despite several economic and social intervention over the years, Malawi continued to face challenges in improving its positions on the global development scale. For Luntha News, This is Emmanuel Chigocha.
Energy expert Green Malunga has called for stronger security measures, enhanced monitoring of vehicles and increased public awareness to address the growing cases of vandalism targeting ESCOM infrastructure in the country. Malunga said the continued destruction of electricity infrastructure poses a serious threat to the country's power supply system and negatively affects ESCOM's efforts to maintain reliable electricity services. More details in this report, followed by Gift Kalonga.
Marunga warned that vandalism is disrupting essential services that depend on stable electricity and pressing additional pressure on ESCOM's operations and expansion on the national grid. He further emphasized the need for communities and stakeholders to play an active role in safeguarding public infrastructure, particularly transformers and other electricity equipment.
Any public goods are our goods, and we need to cherish and treasure them and protect them. But we end up vandalizing them, which is very unfortunate. So ESCOM should try as much as it can to ensure its visibility on the ground and to make sure that these transformers and other assets are protected and are always live.
Meanwhile, ESCOM spokesperson Pilani Piri expressed concern over the rising incidence of vandalism, saying the trend is affecting the reliability of electricity supply across the country. Piri appealed to communities, traditional leaders, and other stakeholders to work together in protecting ESCOM infrastructure, stressing that the equipment is meant to benefit the public and therefore requires collective responsibility to safeguard.
This is retrogressive, to say the least. And just imagine that last month alone, and that was in April, we had 5 of our transformers vandalized. This is why we are saying that let's step in, communities, traditional leaders, business leaders, let's step in and help ESCOM protect the critical infrastructure that are across the country. Those transformers, much as they are operated by ESCOM, but they are meant for the public, they serve the communities.
Electricity challenges have for years remained a major concern in Malawi, negatively impacting businesses and other sectors that depend on consistent power supply. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
In case you are just joining us, remember you are watching News Bulletin coming to you from Luntha Television, and you're with me, Patrick Popa. But for now, let's take a commercial break, and we'll be back straight after this.
Announcement: transition to cashless ticketing. Malawi Airlines would like to inform all valued customers that effective 1st May, all ticket purchases will be conducted exclusively through cashless transactions. As part of this transition, payment will be accepted via bank transfers and POS machines for various banks available at our offices. This measure is designed to streamline our processes, reduce transaction times, and ensure a safer, more secure way of completing bookings. Cashless ticketing will complement our existing online booking platforms, our website, and our mobile application, while aligning with global aviation practices that embrace digital payment solutions. We encourage all customers to prepare for this change by making use of the available electronic payment facilities. Our sales and airport staff will be available to guide and assist customers during this transition. For further assistance, please contact our customer service team via customerrelations@malawianairlines.com or call our support line. We remain committed to serving you with dignity, efficiency, and care as we embrace this new chapter. This announcement is brought to you by Malawi Airlines Management.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Welcome back. Remember, we are live at Bishop Neve Media Center. But before I proceed, a recap of our top stories. Pope Leo XIV assures Catholics RMI of daily prayers for Lebanon and the Middle East. Parliament assures transparent investigation into 2024 Charles Close Chilima's plane crash as committee visits Tungwa forest site. Government expert demands urgent action on Malawi's development after Malawi's Poor Human Development Index HDI ranking. And in international news, Ebola outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo kills 131 over suspected cases reported. And moving on with our news, the Malawi Health Equity Network Mehen has urged the judiciary to impose tougher custodial sentences on individuals involved in the theft and illegal sale of medicines and medical supplies from the public health facilities. Mehen Executive Director Joe Jobe made the call following the arrest of a suspect allegedly connected to a cross-border syndicate involved in stealing public drugs. He described the malpractice as a major threat to both patients' lives and the country's healthcare system. Judith Hogan has filed a report.
Speaking in an interview, Jobe said the continued theft of medicines is negatively affecting service delivery in public hospitals, leaving many patients without access to essential drugs and medical supplies. He commended the Ministry of Health and the Malawi Police Service for successfully carrying out the arrest, saying the development should serve as a strong warning to others engaged in similar criminal activities.
We have seen people being arrested, but this bad act refuses to die, thereby eating into the health budget. Even when we talk about resources in the health budget not being adequate, and advocating for more funding towards medicines and drugs.
Speaking in an interview, Jobe said the continued theft of medicines is negatively affecting.
For this nature, we are not happening.
Jobe has since appealed to the court to hand down stiff prison sentences to offenders if convicted, urging that fines alone are insufficient to deter the growing theft in medicines intended for vulnerable patients. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Ogan.
Secretary General of the Malawi Assemblies of God, Matilda Tumalike Matagwa, has called on women in the country to recognize their value and actively participate in national development. She made the remarks during the Embrace Women Ignite conference, an interdenominational gathering that drew women from various churches. Bridget Manoka reports.
Drawing inspiration from the biblical story of prophetess Deborah in Judges chapter 5, Madaba described her as a multifaceted leader, a mother, prophetess, judge, strategist, and a voice in society. She emphasized that women are uniquely gifted by God to make meaningful contributions both spiritually and socially, urging them to understand their identity and step into roles that can drive change, including distributing to Malawi's economic growth.
She was not an ordinary woman. She was a mother, she was a prophetess, she was a spiritual leader, she had a voice to speak in the society, she was a judge, and she was a strategist. So today I was just encouraging us women to take up our roles in the society as much as we are people who take up our roles in the spiritual realm. So basically, women, we must take up our stand, we must know our position, we must know who we really are. Because God has something in us. He has given each one of us something that we can do here in the world.
Meanwhile, Evangelist Kasonde Chanda, one of the associates of Embrace Worldwide, organizers of the conference, said the gathering was part of efforts to spread the gospel and bring hope to communities.
You know, and Malawi is not very different from other countries in Africa and around the world. So the message of hope is very important, because when you come to the gospel crusade, what you are coming to hear is that God is still the answer. You know, thank God for government, you know, and Malawi just went through an election, a change of government, and that is okay, because we believe that the government is there to help create an environment or a climate for its citizens to prosper.
Malawi will also host a gospel crusade from May 27th to May 31st at Masinta Ground in Lilongwe, aimed at meeting people's spiritual needs and sharing a message of salvation and hope. Bridget Mwanoka, Luntha News.
And in international news, at least 131 people have died in an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, with authorities reporting over 513 suspected cases. Health officials say the virus is spreading to new areas, including Yaounde in Ituri province, Butembo in North Kivu, and Goma City, raising fears of wider transmission. We have a BBC News report read by Charity Chilanga.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) confirms that Uganda has also recorded 2 cases and 1 death linked to the outbreak. The World Health Organization WHO has declared the outbreak caused by the Bundibugyo strain a public health emergency of international concern. An American doctor working in DRC, Peter Stafford, has also tested positive and is expected to be transferred to Germany for treatment. 2 other doctors, including his wife, are under quarantine after exposure but show no symptoms. Reports also indicated that several Americans may have been exposed, with the U.S. government assisting in evacuation efforts and tightening travel restrictions on affected regions. The CDC says the risk of spread to the United States remains low, but has introduced monitoring and screening measures for travelers from affected countries. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization warns the outbreak could grow further and spread across borders if not contained. Health authorities in affected countries, including Rwanda and Nigeria, are increasing surveillance and border screening. The Africa CDC has urged communities to observe strict hygiene and safe burial practices to reduce transmission risks.
And with that international story, up next, it's weather update from Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services by Tapiwa Kutakumoto.
Good evening, and it's time for weather forecast. Partly cloudy and windy conditions are expected to persist over most areas, accompanied by a chance of rain showers. Chilly and foggy conditions are also expected to persist over most areas tonight as well as tomorrow during morning hours. Mwela winds will also continue blowing over our lake water bodies such as Lake Malawi and Lake Chirwa. Hence, we are still advising all lake users, including fishermen, to continue being very observant. This is all due to the influence of this high-pressure system, which is still pumping in fairly moist and cool southeasterlies into the country, influencing these conditions. This is why tonight, partly cloudy conditions should be expected over most areas, accompanied by windy conditions, fog patches, as well as isolated rain showers. Similar conditions are also expected tomorrow in the morning, accompanied by mild temperatures in some areas such as Ngabu and Isanje, 20 degrees Celsius similarly over Mangoshi and most parts along the lake shore, but cool temperatures should be expected over most areas in the south, the central, as well as the northern part. Looking into the afternoon hours of tomorrow, we should expect partly cloudy conditions to persist over most areas in the south, the central, as well as the northern part of the country, accompanied by windy conditions as well as a chance of rain showers. Temperatures are also expected to persist, feeling mild over most areas in the south, warm over central, as well as some areas along the lake shore, but hot temperatures are expected over a few areas such as Ngabu and Isanje at 29 degrees Celsius. Looking into Thursday, we should expect partly cloudy conditions as well as windy conditions to persist over most areas, coupled with a chance of rain showers as well as fog patches. Hamtabiwa kwenda kumutu, be wise, be weather-wise.
And with that, with the report from Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services, we have come to the end of our news bulletin right here on Luntha Television. But before I go, a recap of our top stories. Pope Leo XIV assures Catholics RMI of daily prayers for Lebanon and the Middle East. Parliament assures transparent investigation into 2024 South Cross Chilima's plane crash as committee visits Tungwa forest site. Government expert demands urgent action on Malawi's development after Malawi's poor Human Development Index HDI ranking. And in international news, Ebola outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo kills 131 over suspected cases reported. Thanks for watching our news bulletin right here on Luntha Television. And this has been Patrick Pupa, and I wish you a good time. Keep watching Luntha Television, and bye for now.